He was like, the customers that we lost, I would pay to leave because I don't want them associated with me. Our opinion on the customers that we lost, the racist weirdos that we don't care about, that we want nothing to do with.
Because you're a hater little bitch that's an incel living in your mom's basement. You've not achieved in your life. And half of the like that fat Alex Jones down the road here. And by the way, I'm going to publish his address soon.
What's going on, guys? It's Hitch Good with Hitch Good Gaming, and today we're once again deviating away from our regular gaming content, and we are focusing on real world stuff, focusing on the culture war, which is extremely important because in the long run it matters a whole lot more than gaming. So, if you don't recall, or if you didn't see, a couple days ago we put out a video about Black Rifle Coffee Company allowing the New York Times to do a story on them, and the New York Times, when they posted it, posted about how Evan Hafer talked really bad about his customer base, calling them racist and bigots, and how they were gladly just flush those effing, pieces of crap down the toilet, and they didn't want any part of them, don't want them in their customer database, don't want them in their company. And they made it appear that they were talking about conservatives in general. At this point, that may have been the case, but I really wouldn't put it past the New York Times, to put things in a way that reflected badly on Black Rifle Coffee Company. Now, Black Rifle Coffee Company made a grave mistake in talking to the New York Times, but at the same time, we're seeing just occasion after occasion after occasion where they're just giving a wink and a nod to the left. And at the end of my last video, I kind of came to the conclusion that, I don't think that Black Rifle Coffee Company are a bunch of leftist socialists, propagating morons, but they are not the conservatives we thought they were, that they are most likely a bunch of centrists who kind of, hit on that conservative vein, realized that it was the perfect way to grow their brand, and being super brash about how conservative they were and how much they loved America and how much they loved guns and all this other stuff. And then slowly over time, the layers start to get peeled back, and we start to see them for who they really are, which I believe is a bunch of centrists. And now it's getting harder to even believe that, because they're taking on the tactics of the left by threatening to dox people who are hating them, dox these racists. They name Alex Jones specifically. They start using the tactics of the left by making anybody that disagrees with them out to be these awful racist, bigoted people, even calling their detractors incels, which I've never heard anybody from the right call someone an incel. That is purely propaganda of the left. So if you haven't been hanging around these people, why are you talking like them? So now they felt the need to go on this Drinking Brothers podcast, say everything I just said, and more, and we're going to go through this, and I might cut out a little bit of the stuff. If it gets boring or kind of off topic, I will, but for the most part, we're going to hear this in its entirety, but let's take a listen to what these guys have to say. Now, just to start this off,
The reporter was with us for quite a few days, so it's not like from
this guy right here is Jared Taylor. If you don't know, he's one of the more popular ones than this guy, but he's in a lot of the awesome videos they put out that are now not so often awesome, unfortunately. But he is the executive vice president of the company. This guy right here is Daniel Holloway. He is the former executive director of marketing, and he's got some crazy stuff to say, of which Jared goes right along with.
Yeah, it's not like it was like one phone call interview. And number two, number one, we have nothing to hide. Number two, it was like we had this adaptive athlete shoot that Evan designed that he's so excited about. He's like, well, shit, come talk about this. Like, that we are bringing out all these amputees that have now gotten into. Yeah. So it was like, hey, our thought process wasn't essentially like, yeah, the New York Times sucks. Like, their business model is controversy and sinking fucking ships that they can sink. And getting everybody can, and getting people to fucking fight. And the statements that a lot of people are mad about, Evan was making from a direct question that was, what do you think about the people you lost as customers back in November when the whole Kyle Rittenhouse thing hit? And man, from our perspective, like again, changing that perspective, we faced crazy attacks from Proud Boy factions. They were incredibly racist and anti-Semitic. I mean, we've got plenty of screenshots and videos of the coordinated attacks going in on Telegram.
Now, if you have the screenshots, if you have the videos, why have you not shown them yet? Why have you not done this? I'm not saying it didn't happen, but you haven't shown us that it happened at all. I never even knew that Evan Hafer was Jewish until the other day when he went on Instagram and said that they were getting anti-Semitic attacks. And I've never heard anti-Semitism coming from the right. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm just saying I haven't heard it. I haven't seen it. If it's there, show it to me. I'll believe you. All right, just show it to us. But so far, they refuse to do so. If you're going to go through the process and the trouble of going on all these talk shows and all these podcasts to cover your ass and all these softball, interviews, why don't you just put out some of these screenshots showing, hey, this is the people that we were referring to, not our customer base? Why not just do that?
Ram and all this shit.
So like Signal, Telegram, all
yes,
over the place. Yeah.
There was this giant, and before that, I want to also paint the picture. Prior to the incident that happened in November, I used to argue with all my left friends that called conservatives racist because I thought they were just making this up. Then I got targeted by that group of people and it opened my eyes of, oh my God, this exists. I didn't know it exists because they left me alone because they thought I was an ally.
Well, it's also
because all these racists were leaving us alone because they thought that we were right there with them. I don't think so, Hoss. I really don't.
very small.
It's very small.
And,
And that's what Evan was
small.
referring to, though, and that's that comment. He was like, the customers that we lost, I would pay to leave because I don't want them associated with me. He was not calling conservatives racist. He was not calling.
So if you left Black Rifle Coffee Company over what happened with Kyle Rittenhouse, I guess you fall under what Evan Hafer was saying.
Anybody that supported Trump racist. He wasn't saying any. We were talking about, hey, we don't want shitty people to associate with our brand. That's pretty fucking cut and dry.
This is the conversation. So what do you think about racists?
I don't like them.
Racists can go fuck themselves.
Yes.
What are you saying? I'm racist?
Oh, fuck you, Christian. And then they twist this stuff. The reporter was in the art room. There is thousands, 3,000 different designs. You've seen Gary's office. It's a fucking, it's a masterpiece of fucking,
I've seen
of amazingness.
Gary's brain.
Yes.
So
there is a pile that says hold. And on top of that pile was the design that Evan had done up with St. Michael.
He's the
patron saint of paratroopers with an SBR putting his foot on Satan. The reporter goes, why is that on hold? He's like, well, we were told by the legal department that this was added to the DOD's banned extremist images. He's like, so we're going to look into that before we launch it. That was the conversation.
Yeah.
Why would we look into it before we launch it? Because we don't want Black Rifle Coffee as a brand added to a banned item on the DOD's list, saying if they came out and said you cannot display Black Rifle Coffee in a government facility, that affects our AFES stuff, all the stores on bases. Like that is so detrimental to the business.
It also empowers racists to think that they have a large corporate ally somewhere.
Man, since when does anybody, had anybody viewed the Archangel as a racist symbol? For somebody to say, I'm racist, I'm a white supremacist, and I agree with that, I know what that means. That's bullcrap, man. Nobody ever thought that. Now, I will be linking another video below, but the Treehouse News put out a video. This lady is just going off on them, which I find kind of entertaining. And she says that she looked on the DOJ's website and could not find any mention of the Archangel, being a something that they need to watch on the DOJ's list, and that Evan Hafer had received an email from a friend of his who was a part of the DOJ saying, hey, you might better be careful with this particular image because we're watching it. But she also claims that the reason that it was put on hold and that what they've talked among themselves was the fact that they couldn't decide on what rifle the Angel needed to be holding, on what they wanted what rifle the Angel needed to be holding. And it's kind of interesting that he said an SBR rifle, so to me, it's like, okay, they had discussed what rifle it was, so this kind of makes a little bit more sense. And that story would make a lot more sense to me as a consumer, that they just couldn't decide what rifle the Angel needed to be holding. So originally, maybe their story would have made more sense, but as we uncover, as we peel back more layers, it simply makes more sense to me that they were just giving a wink and the nod to the New York Times of, oh, this is an opportunity for us to show how not racist we are, right? It's really sad.
Like, hey, they won't really say it, but because they printed St. Michael,
Yeah.
they're in.
But
that
that turned into, and this is where stupid people, I will call you fucking stupid if you were part of this, that Evan was the deciding person that said St. Michael was racist. No, I jumped with a St. Michael pennant. Evan jumped with a St. Michael pennant. Matt had a St. Michael pennant.
And not to mention how many guys are walking around on base with a St. Michael's tattoo on their arm. Are they being investigated by the DOJ? No. I mean, I don't see any problem with that being on base, with it being such a prominent feature and image within the military.
All of us were fans. That's why he was creating the art. We were just told, hey, this was added to a DoD banned list. Okay, well, let's look into it. And then also,
let's look into why.
Another argument.
If it's 5 people doing it, then we'll publish the thing. But if it's like 10,000 assholes that started some militia group in the woods that hate black people, then we're not going to publish that. Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Why would we do?
But that turned into, why would you cave to the DOD? Like,
I guarantee you there are not 10,000 people that view that as a racist image.
Sorry, what argument is that? Why would you cave to the DOD? Like, no, I just explained it. We don't want the brand being put on a fucking banned list.
Right.
That's why. It's not us caving. We do have to toe a line. When we are carried in base exchanges and we are sold in bases, and a lot of military bases have Black Rifle Coffee stations, we have to be cognizant of what the military is doing and what their directives are, and we have to follow certain guidelines. That's called basic fucking business.
Yeah.
And then finally, the last thing the reporter asked Evan, well, would you ever consider changing Just Black to Just Black Lives Matter? And he said, fuck no. Yep. But that somehow circulated the internet with a BLM bag, and oh, look, they went woke. They said they would make this bad. No, we didn't. Like, you can't even come at us with real information.
Yeah,
now, I will give them this.
I may have seen a meme.
The way the reporter put the response of Evan
writing
about us, our opinion on the customers that we lost, the racist fucking weirdos that we don't care about them.
So if you stop supporting Black Rifle Coffee Company because of Kyle Rittenhouse, you're a racist effing weirdo that they don't care about.
That we want nothing to do with. He conveniently sent that right underneath a quote after the reporter was talking to Matt about Kyle Rittenhouse, and he made.
I believe that the New York Times did that, but what he just said is just as bad.
Made it seem like that Evan was responding to a question where he was like, well, what do you think about Kyle Rittenhouse supporters?
Well, Kyle Rittenhouse shot 3 white people, so I'm not sure how would he be fucking relevant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shit.
So it's just, dude, it's fucking annoying. It's about whatever.
With the last question here, because I think this is what everybody was really curious about this. Knowing what the New York Times is, going into it, why even do the interview?
Because Evan was one of
it's still a massive platform. And if that massive platform, we could shed light on the BRCC fund or the fact that we're doing all this stuff with adaptive athletes, we still need to do that. We still need to let the left know that our dudes exist out there and they're hurt and they've been in 22 years worth of wars. Like, again, we have nothing to hide. So what would be?
I would ask the inverse of that, and it'll take us back to a conversation we had sometime in the last 2 weeks with Julia Galiff about the Gelman amnesia effect. So everybody knows. So the Gelman amnesia effect is from Michael Crichton, the author, and he says if you went to a particular publication and they wrote a really bad article about trading stocks, for example, like let's say you went to the Washington Post and you read an article on their first page of their financial section, and it was just like bullshit about like what fuck, this is stupid. Then you flip the page and all of a sudden you retrust that organization to tell you the truth about something else, right? So why are all these people who have denigrated the mainstream media and especially the New York Times, and rightfully so, by the way, for all this time. Now all of a sudden they trust what the fucking New York Times has to say. You're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot. God,
I never
damn
thought of it
man.
like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the dumbest
But that's the
shit
thing. The thing
possible.
is,
that's like your worst enemy. That's like one of our worst enemies. Somebody we hate coming and saying, you know what Jared said about you guys? I'd be like, shut the fuck up. If Jared had anything to say to me, he would just say it. You know what I mean? Like, why are you taking as credible this information?
You
that
also gotta realize,
comes from,
like-
from a source that's not credible. It's because you wanted it to be true because you're.
We know the source is not credible. It's how you responded to it. Like he's just said, if you stopped, supporting Black Rifle Coffee Company because of Kyle Rittenhouse, you're a racist.
You're a hated
That's
little
what we have a
bitch
problem
that's
with.
an incel
That's the
living in your
disconnect
mom's
here.
basement. You've not achieved shit in
Incel.
your life.
Listen to this
from
guy.
a source that's not credible. It's because you wanted it to be true because you're a hater little bitch that's an incel living in your mom's basement. You've not achieved shit in your life. And half of these motherfuckers, like that fat cunt Alex Jones down the road here. And by the way, I'm going to publish his fucking address soon. Talking all this shit about no, fuck him. All that shit about no, fuck that guy.
Now you can hear the podcasters like, yeah, I don't know about that. Like, you can't just dox people, you know. That's what the left does. The left puts out people's personal information. Never heard anybody from the right, no matter how extreme they are. I haven't seen Proud Boys doxing anybody. They say that the Proud Boys put out the addresses of Evan and Matt and Jared on here, and put up a screenshot. You can blur out the address, put up a screenshot, let us see. But I still haven't seen any evidence of it. And then they're still painting everybody, calling them incels. If you haven't been around the left a lot, why are you talking like them? And just painting everybody as a racist bigot that doesn't agree with you, exactly as the left does. That's what takes all of their arguments and makes them incredibly less credible.
All the shit about calling them fucking cowards. Are you fucking kidding me? All that shit about no, fuck that. Talking all this shit about no, fuck him. All that shit about no, fuck that guy. All the shit about calling them fucking cowards. Are you fucking kidding me? This dude hasn't lifted one of his fat sausage fingers in defense of this fucking country.
Now, see, that's another leftist tactic. That's saying it's called identity politics, and it's say I served in the military, so therefore I have a greater opinion than you do. That I know what I'm talking about. That I've served this country, and you know what? That's great. That's fine. No matter what these guys say, I appreciate their sacrifice and what they did for this country. I don't care where their political leanings are. If you're a leftist that went in the military, I appreciate you. Thank you. That's a part of service to this country. But just because you serve this country doesn't mean that you're the end all be all of opinions on racism and politics. It's just not. That's the same idea that that leftists come up with, saying if you if you're not a woman, then you can't have an opinion on abortion. Or if you're not gay, then you can't have an opinion on gay rights. If you're not black, you can't have an opinion on racism. It's the exact same ideology.
Fuck that guy.
And
You
with
fucking
that,
kidding me?
My man.
you just can't dox anybody.
He's got a point, though.
I absolutely
he's
will.
got a
Fuck
point,
him.
though.
He's not entitled when all of his proud boy cunt motherfucking piece of shit followers are out there looking up his address and Evan's address and Matt's address and just regular employees of the company's addresses and putting them online along with their personal, not
Show
business, but personal email addresses and phone number. Fuck him.
Yeah, who did that, by the way?
Proud Boys did that.
Not Alex
Fuck
Jones.
every single one of those.
Because
fucking
I saw
pieces
that. I
of
saw that
shit.
leak from some of your employees. That's some were,
Dude,
were
that's
donating
another
to.
thing. Like you had a big
donations
level
are
reporter
Public knowledge.
posting screenshots of 2 of our employees' political donations last year. It's like you do realize that you cannot choose, to hire or fire someone over their political background.
Right.
It wasn't just your employees that donated to people like Act Blue and Obama. It was Evan Hafer. It was the CEO of the company. You can watch our last video. I've got proof of it. He donated to... Now, in all honesty and fairness, he donated to McCain, who was Rhino. He donated to Obama. He donated to Tulsi Gabbard, who is a very centrist yet still socialist Democrat. Probably the most, centrist of the entire field, though. He donated to Act Blue, which is a very, is a Democrat think tank, an activist group, and then he did donate a decent amount of money to both of the Republican candidates for the last Senate race in 2020. That's what makes me say that they're centrists. And just while we're paused here, there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of veterans out there who are big badasses. Either one of these guys could probably kick my ass. And you know what? They've done more badass things than me, and that's fine. But they do not have the mental toughness to be able to take on any kind of criticism. I've known veterans myself that act the exact same way that these guys do. That if you've got any kind of problem with them or disagreement with them, it's F you, buddy. Let's meet out in the parking lot. Because they do not have the mental fortitude or mental toughness to be able to take criticism. And so they lash out like this. Instead of just being quiet professionals that can just let stuff roll off their back, no, can't let it go. And that's the same reason these guys are doing so many interviews, because they can't let it go. They have to show how badass they are. They have to show how tough they are. And if you're really going to be in politics and wade into the culture war, you can't be like this. And that's the epitome of why they're failing.
Like,
and I don't care.
And that's what I get. That's what doesn't make sense. Is at one second they beat their chest about how they're patriots and about freedom, and in the same breath they fucking talk about anybody that says anything good about the left can fucking burn in hell. It's like, shut up, you nerds. You're a bunch of fucking nerds.
That's the sound of someone.
They're centrists. These guys are centrists.
That's never sacrificed a goddamn thing in their life.
No, or doesn't even understand that you've literally been conditioned to be as polarizing as you are right now.
Yeah.
You are falling for the trap.
It's fucking
and
pathetic.
We don't, because we don't care. I don't care if you voted for fucking whoever. I don't give a fuck.
It's all these fucking non-deployed or non-service 3%er cunts, right? That say things like iron sharpens iron. Hanging out with a bunch of fucking other fat retards like yourself that all think the same. That's the iron that's sharpening the iron. Are you fucking kidding me?
The pillar of progress, Dan. The pillar.
You can suck my dick, and all the companies out there.
It's a lot. It's also though what we've seen is like the fucking the guys that we're talking about, the asthma. I would have joined except I had asthma. It's now they've all got together.
I would have punched a drill sergeant in the face.
Yeah. I'd punch a drill sergeant in the face. Yeah. Now they're all together and they've all like hyped themselves up.
And see, they're characterizing everybody that disagrees with them as these awful people that they're talking about.
Now this has become a thing. Now I'm more of a patriot. I'm more of a patriot than any soldier. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, stop. And I'm not.
The only people that are saying that are leftists who like usually gays will end up saying that. Or transgenders will end up saying, I am more brave than anybody that ever served. Nobody on the right's ever saying that.
Saying that being a United States military member just defines your patriotism, but if that's what you're trying to claim as some sort of measurement, like, just shut up.
Well, just let me know let me know when the war in your mind that you're fighting right now actually takes place in fucking reality. How about that?
Or go down to Mexico and make the war happen.
We have had tens of thousands of people that have come all over the country for the last 6 years to visit us as Drinker Bros all over the place. We did a cruise. We've done a giant live show at the MGM Grand.
Yeah.
We welcome anybody that shows up and wants to be cool.
Yeah.
That's all it fucking matters. Like, fuck off with all your other bullshit. Get a hobby. Be happy with your fucking life for once.
There it is. From Jared Taylor. We're about to go live on Fight TV here in a moment with Chuck Liddell. Caleb, since you would not shut the fuck up all show, we'll let you give the Drinking Bro of the Week, which is someone who has inspired you or helped.
Okay, so basically here, I mean, I've pretty much given my opinion throughout this entire thing. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I think these guys are hardcore centrists. Okay, I don't think that they support leftists. I think that they just want to. This is a perfect example of the only thing that's in the middle of the road are yellow lines and dead dogs, and that's these guys right here. Is they've waded into the culture war, they didn't know how to navigate it, and because they truly are centrists, it is coming out that they're centrists, and they're being forced to take a side now. nobody's going to force you to take a side if you don't wade into the culture war. If you didn't use conservatives to further your brand, to sell coffee, and hey, you know what? Hey, help veterans. I think they help veterans. I'm not disputing that. But if you didn't market yourself in that way, nobody would be forcing you to take a side on this. But when you post videos about, oh, FISIS, and you talk about how brash and badass you are and everything, and you know, I still love those videos because I identify with them. But when you're that brash about stuff, we expect you to stand up for conservative causes. We don't expect you to invite the New York Times into your house to show them how not racist you are. And whenever you try to toe a line like this, you end up getting bit over it. And they have. And as much as I would love to just for this to be over and them to redeem themselves, they're absolutely not doing it. And they're not going to. Their egos are too big. Their rhetoric is too large. It's too hateful. Everybody that doesn't agree with them are far right extremists, bigots, and racists. And I'm telling you, it's just it's a real shame. It's a real shame to see these guys go down in this way. And I think that this interview is going to hurt them. It's going to be the nail in the coffin that really hurts Black Rifle Coffee Company. But leave your comments and your opinions, because I know you got them. I know you got them. Leave them in the comment section below. I will try to respond to every single one of substance that I can. And if you would, share this video and definitely subscribe. While you're going to BRCC's YouTube page to unsubscribe from them, why don't you subscribe to me, okay? I'm a gamer that wants to spread freedom. I'm wanting to reach out to the gaming community to show conservatives that are also gamers that you're not alone in this world. And, you know, promote conservatism and tell everybody Jesus loves them. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Once again, please subscribe to the channel, like, and comment down below. Y'all have a blessed day. Hit you good out.